Hi, it's Kevin Lobates here, and today I thought I would show a demo of the use of the souls.fi site that I launched a week back. It's the NFT that I produced, which has a whole bunch of extra functionality, which I will go through in this video. So the first thing to do is to visit the actual site, souls.fi. And here we go. Let's make that look a bit darker. Right, so when you go to it, you hit the main page, and this is actually the page that allows you to immediately start minting an NFT, and that's what I'll do right now. So step one is to authorize the web page to retrieve your profile picture and your name using Open Authentication. And I think I'll sign in with GitHub today. And I've done so. In fact, I must have already been logged in because it immediately retrieved the picture, which is the ThinkLayer logo and my name. Now, unfortunately, I've not been able to retrieve description because that requires more Open Authentication permissions. So I'll have to add one manually here. So let's see, we'll call this the ThinkLayer token number one. See that appears up there. So this is a visual representation of the NFT itself. And then step two, connect MetaMask. Now, MetaMask will or should pop up. It's actually giving me a little alert here. Unfortunately, extensions in Chrome and in Brave are not always reliable. Sometimes you actually have to click on them, and it looks like my picture's in the way there, so we'll move that out the way too. Here we go. My head can disappear down to the bottom there. So the site is asking to connect, so we'll say yes. And there we go. Now, the problem is I'm actually on the wrong network. I was on the Goerli test network, and Souls is running on the Binance Smart Chain. So it asks you to approve switching to the network. And we'll do that now. And get rid of that little advert. So here I am on the Binance Smart Chain. You can see I have the vast cryptocurrency fortune of 1.0083 Binance coins, which is probably somewhere in the region of about $350 to $400. So I'm not retiring anytime soon. Now, I got an error there. I'm still working on ironing out some of the bugs. What we can do is we'll reload the page. And that happens very quickly. And now I can have another go connecting MetaMask. And now it's connected. Step three is to mint the NFT. So I'll click minting, and it's now gone and built the required data string for the NFT, and it wants me to pay the fee for actually doing the minting. So I'll now click on confirm, and that means I've paid for it. And now MetaMask is submitting the NFT minting transaction to the blockchain, and that can take anywhere between 5 seconds to 30 seconds or so. And there we go. Token number 23 has been minted, and we can actually go and have a look at it now. So I'll click on this, go and have a look at it on the Souls page. So the Souls page you can also get to from this link that I'm now moving the pointer around here. And it's a very basic NFT explorer. And again, we're going to have to connect MetaMask in order to be able to communicate with the Binance Smart Chain. And it's loading the NFTs dynamically. You'll see some of them have not loaded yet, but there they all are. And there is token number 23, the one that we just minted. And the first thing you'll notice is that the level of quality of the image is much lower. And this is because what we're seeing here are 24 by 24 pixel images. And those images are actually stored on the Binance Smart Chain itself. So we're looking at NFTs here that store a miniature of the actual NFT image on the blockchain itself, which means that you've always got something to check against the image that is retrieved using the metadata. Plus, if you're looking, for example, to make a game, well, you've got an icon for the token that is always going to be available as long as the chain exists too. So this should keep the chain maximalists happy, because there are some people out there who think that everything should be done on the blockchain, not done through pointers to files off the blockchain. So I'm now going to select this NFT and fetch it. And there we go. This will dynamically load. It's the same image you saw when we were minting. There's my name. I used my GitHub account, so it's got a link to my actual account. And you'll see a whole bunch of stats have appeared here. Excuse me. So the uh, reason for these stats is they're actually derived from something that I've called the soul of the token. And the soul of the token is a pseudo-random number that is generated for each token when it's minted. And it's a total of 256 bits long. And it's something that a game provider, for example, could use as the basis for creating statistics for a particular token. So what I've done here is I've made a demo of that. The string that I had started with 028DE9E. That's hexadecimal. And what I've done is I've taken each digit and used it to select from a list of possible options what the actual statistics for this token will be. So this one has come out as a streamer. There are also tokens that have come out as a vlogger or as a gamer or things like that. So you can kind of think of them like character classes in a role-playing game, and they've been determined by the first digit. And then similarly, we have these made up statistics, swag, flex, and clout, and so on. And they're all numbers between 3 and 18, and they are generated from the subsequent digits that come along. And with 256 bits or 32 bytes, you have a lot of random numbers that you can use. And the thing is, the random number is generated and then it's fixed for the lifetime of the token. So you can think here of, for example, Pokemon cards or top trading cards or stuff like that, where they have values associated with them. And when people play games with them, it's what's printed on the card that counts, that tells you whether that card will beat another card or not. I've just done a quick reference implementation here to show how that might work. Now, there's one thing here which is different to all the other ones, which is the level. Every token starts off with a level of 0, and these NFT tokens have the level for each token stored on the blockchain. And you may be wondering, well, if it's level 0, how's it going to change? And the answer for that is that there is a level up function. So there's a function on the NFT contract that you can call, and what you do is you send a string or basically a 256-bit number to the contract together with the ID of the token. And inside the NFT contract, there's a proof of work verification. It performs a bunch of hashing similar to what happens on in Bitcoin proof of work. So it hashes the 256-bit number you provide with the soul of the token, and then it counts how many ones that number starts with. And the more ones you get, the higher the level of the token. So theoretically, your token could have a level of 256 bits if you found the perfect string to submit to the level up function. But the odds of you finding that perfect string are 1 in 2 to the power of 256. So completely unlikely to have a 256 level token. However, a 5 or 10 level token is actually fairly easy, and I'll demonstrate that now. So this web page has a, in quotes, miner built into it. When you click on this button, it'll try and find a better level for the token. And here it's found level 12. It's actually run through about 1,000 or 2,000 options, tried them all out on the browser, and has determined that this string here will give you a level of 12 if you submit it. And you can actually then submit that as a transaction on the blockchain using this support. Now that is going to cost you, but not very much. We're looking at 0.000254 Binance coin. So I will go ahead and click confirm. And now I've sent a command to the contract on the blockchain that will level up that token to level 12. So this part, we hit refresh. It takes a while. There we go. It takes a while for it to come through because blockchain transactions are asynchronous. They do not get folded into the blockchain immediately. You can see the new level for the token number 23 is level 12. And we can go back and look at some other people's tokens. Let's go and grab, for example, token number 19. I'll get that one. It has the name of a podcaster because it had a different digit at the start. It's got a sad level of 1. Hasn't leveled up much at all. So I could have a go at upping that one. And if I click on this button, I will level it up to 16. So getting levels like 15, 16, 17 can be done very, very quickly. Once you start getting to the higher levels, it gets harder and harder, twice as hard for each level. So getting level 17 on average takes twice as many tries as getting level 16 and so on. So why would you do this? You may be wondering. What's the point of this proof of work? It's not even going to get you a block reward for submitting it, so you're not going to get any Bitcoin or Ether or any kind of token that's worth anything. Well, the idea I had here is one use you can have. It's to show appreciation for a particular token. So if you converted this into a likes button, you could have a post, and then if that somebody posted on a blog, and if people liked it, they would click on a like button, and instead of a little thumb up appearing, a string that might give them a much better level would appear, and they could then submit that at a later date and show that their token has a really, really high level. So there could be a bit of flexing and competition between people to have the highest level for their token. And I think at the moment, the best token on the Sols network has a level of 23 or so. So there's a bit of a competition going on there. I'm not having any luck here finding one. That's the probabilistic nature of this. 16 is a pretty good level. It might take 10 or 20 clicks before I found a better one. But if you had hundreds of people clicking like on your post and each of them contributing 10 seconds of proof of work from their browser to you, well, the more followers you have or the more support you have, the more likely it is that you'll get this high level. So that's one use for the levels functionality of the token. Another one could just simply be that you have a token and you put work into it to show how much you value it. So you run a miner on your computer overnight, the level goes up and up and up. And there's a possibility that in a secondary market, tokens with higher levels are perceived as being more valuable because people have put more work into them. I know it's not entirely rational, but to be honest, this entire NFT world is not yet at an entirely rational state either. So that's the basic overview of what this token does. It's not your run-of-the-mill NFT token like you can purchase on OpenSea. It's a token that has a miniature of the image embedded in the blockchain itself, so that already sets it apart. And quite frankly, I don't know why the CryptoPunks didn't do that, especially since they were minted back in 2017 when network fees were very cheap on Ethereum. They could have stored the image of each punk on the blockchain with a contract like this. The second thing we have is this pseudo-random number, the soul of the token, which gives each token a unique fingerprint that could be used for all sorts of applications. For example, the obvious one is games. And then the final one is this leveling up option, which gives you the opportunity of a community putting work in together to increase the perceived value of tokens. So that summarizes the whole thing. Do go and have a visit if you want. And if you're stuck with things like how to set up a MetaMask wallet, or you're getting some errors on the site or whatever, there is a Discord channel where I hang out to provide support for people who want it. And it doesn't appear to be on it is on the bottom of this page. It's just hidden under the terms and conditions. And that's actually a good reminder, which is do go and read the site policy before you use this site, because you are using this site, if you go through what I have just done here, to retrieve your profile picture and your name from your social media profile using your browser. And then if you go ahead and sign and submit a transaction using MetaMask, you are submitting those to the blockchain and to the interplanetary file system. So they are going to be permanently recorded on a decentralized system that I personally have no control over. And this website is just acting as an intermediary for you. It's not storing any of these things on a database that I am in control of. In fact, pretty much everything is happening in your web browser. And this is just a service that acts as a simpler interface. You could do all of this without even using the web if you know how to program blockchains and you know how to interact with Ethereum blockchains from the command line using a tool such as Hardhat. So the web is not the key part here, it's just the user interface. when I say it's not the key part, the fact is it's really important to have a user interface because most people are not going to want to do this kind of stuff from the command line. But back to that Discord button. So if you click on this link and you have Discord, it'll ask you to join the Souls channel, and I have that open on my computer so you can come and ask me questions there if you have any problems. That's it for this video. I hope you found it interesting. Feel free to also ask questions in the comments, or maybe you have suggestions as to how these extra 3 features that this NFT has could be used in novel and interesting ways, because I really think this is just the start of the kinds of interesting things that you can do with NFTs. And to be frank, what we have out there at the moment in the NFT world is rather lackluster and disappointing as far as I'm concerned. That's my personal opinion, but I think if you've looked at this functionality and actually thought about some of the applications that it might have, I'm sure you'll agree too. That's it for today. See you in the next video soon, and bye for now.